For centuries, we've been told a simple story. In 1492, Columbus crossed the Atlantic and discovered the New World. But history, real history, is rarely so simple. Across Africa and the Americas, legends, artifacts, and scientific clues suggest a deeper, forgotten chapter in human exploration. Could African explorers have reached the shores of the Americas long before Columbus ever set sail? Let's follow the evidence and uncover the truth they don't teach in schools. In the traditional narrative, Columbus was the first outsider to cross the Atlantic and reach the Americas. But this Eurocentric view of history ignores centuries of global movement, navigation, and cultural exchange. Africans, particularly West Africans, had advanced maritime knowledge and possibly the motivation to sail west. Africa has a rich history of seafaring. Ancient Egyptians built large, seaworthy ships over 4,000 years ago. Carthaginian traders from North Africa explored the Atlantic as early as 600 BCE. And West African empires, like Mali and Songhai, had access to powerful rivers like the Niger, which flowed toward the Atlantic. They built large canoes and ships out of timber, capable of long-distance travel. One of the most compelling stories comes from the Mali Empire. In the early 1300s, Emperor Abubakari II reportedly abdicated his throne to explore what lay beyond the Atlantic Ocean. According to Arab historian Al-Amari, Abubakari sent a fleet of 200 ships, followed later by 2,000 more, to explore the ocean's far west. While some ships returned, most did not. Abubakari himself is said to have sailed with the second fleet and never returned. Did he perish at sea? There are intriguing signs that African explorers may have left their mark. One of the most debated pieces of evidence lies in Mexico, the Olmec colossal heads. These massive stone sculptures, carved between 1200 to 400 BCE, feature facial features some scholars say resemble West Africans: full lips, broad noses, rounded facial structures. Mainstream archaeologists argue these features were indigenous. But the resemblance raises questions. Were these heads inspired by African visitors? Or is it coincidence? Some researchers have identified striking cultural parallels. Similar pyramidal structures in Egypt, Sudan, and Mesoamerica. Parallels in spiritual beliefs, such as the reverence of the sun and ancestors. Agricultural knowledge that seems to have crossed continents, especially in the cultivation of cotton and yams. Are these examples of shared humanity or ancient transoceanic contact? Interestingly, Columbus himself may have hinted at an African presence in the Americas. In his own journals, Columbus wrote that the Native Americans spoke of black-skinned people who had come from the south and southeast in large boats, well before his arrival. Could these have been sailors from West Africa? And if so, how far did their influence reach? Plants can also tell a story. Some crops native to Africa, like banana varieties and certain cotton strains, were found in pre-Columbian South America. Likewise, New World crops, like maize and cassava, may have reached parts of Africa earlier than European colonization would suggest. Trade? Migration? Accident? The mystery deepens. Narration. Crossing the Atlantic might sound impossible for ancient sailors, but nature offers a helping hand. The Canary Current and the North Equatorial Current form a natural highway from West Africa straight to the Americas. These ocean routes would have made westward sailing entirely possible, especially with large wooden ships and experienced navigators. And returning home? The Gulf Stream offers a route back. Many African historians, like Ivan van Sertima, champion the theory of African pre-Columbian contact. His groundbreaking book, They Came Before Columbus, challenged academic orthodoxy and presented evidence ranging from linguistic similarities to metallurgical techniques. Yet his work has been met with both praise and skepticism. Mainstream academia often calls for more concrete archaeological proof, but dismissing the theory entirely ignores centuries of oral tradition and circumstantial evidence. Why does this question matter? Because history isn't just about dates and names, it's about identity, connection, and truth. If African civilizations did reach the Americas before Columbus, it reshapes our understanding of global history. It highlights African ingenuity, exploration, and achievement, a narrative too often buried by colonial perspectives. Today, new technologies like satellite archaeology and ocean floor scanning may help uncover more evidence. Underwater ruins off the coasts of Senegal, Brazil, and the Caribbean have already raised questions. As more scholars from Africa and the diaspora re-examine history, we may be on the edge of a new understanding. One that honors the global contributions of ancient African civilizations. Long-distance sea travel requires more than courage, it needs technology. West African civilizations had both. Ancient texts describe Malian ships as having multiple decks, storage rooms, and capacity for thousands of passengers. These ships weren't primitive rafts, they were ocean-going vessels, guided by the stars and ocean currents. If Viking longships could reach North America by hugging coastlines, why not African ships following a current that flows directly to Brazil and the Caribbean? Across the Atlantic, two seemingly unrelated cultures built pyramids, massive stone monuments aligned with celestial bodies. In Nubia, the kingdom of Kush built tall, steep-sided pyramids centuries before Columbus. In Mesoamerica, the Olmecs, Maya, and Aztecs built pyramids with similar orientations, often for similar religious purposes. Could this be a case of parallel development? In both West Africa and ancient America, people mastered the use of copper, gold, and bronze. Some of the metallurgy techniques, such as lost wax casting and decorative patterns, show striking similarities. While skeptics dismiss this as coincidence, proponents suggest cross-continental knowledge sharing, perhaps through contact, trade, or migration. Language holds memory, and sometimes, buried truths. Scholars have found linguistic similarities between West African languages and some Caribbean and Mesoamerican dialects. For instance, in Mandinka, Ka means soul. In ancient Olmec records, Ka also refers to spiritual essence. Some Mayan and West African root words share near-identical meanings and phonetic structure. These similarities aren't proof, but they do invite deeper investigation. Modern DNA research has attempted to answer the question: did Africans contribute to the genetic makeup of pre-Columbian peoples? A 1971 study suggested traces of West African markers in pre-Columbian Brazilian tribes. However, later studies were inconclusive, with many results either buried or ignored by mainstream academia. New, independent genetic research may one day provide a definitive answer. Across both West Africa and the Americas, the symbolism of serpents, spirits, and the sky appears again and again. The Dogon people of Mali believe their ancestors came from the star Sirius, mirroring some Native American sky legends. Both Yoruba and Maya mythology speak of sky gods descending and teaching humanity. These shared mythologies may reflect a deeper spiritual memory or a cultural exchange lost to time. Some of the strongest evidence may still lie beneath the waves. Off the coast of Senegal, Ghana, and Brazil, underwater anomalies, stone formations, walls, and artifacts have puzzled researchers. Could there be the sunken ports or shipwrecks of African fleets? If confirmed, these discoveries could rewrite world history. In South America and the Caribbean, some indigenous rituals incorporate drums, call and response chants, and ceremonial masks resembling African traditions. Even pre-Columbian music in parts of the Amazon uses rhythmic structures nearly identical to West African patterns. Could there be remnants of forgotten encounters? Whether through travel, trade, or the ocean's guiding hand, humanity has always been connected. The story of African contact with the Americas isn't just about proving a theory. It's about restoring dignity, reclaiming erased chapters of history, and realizing that our ancestors, black, brown, red, and beyond, were more connected than we ever imagined. History didn't begin in Europe, and discovery doesn't belong to one man. So, was there contact between Africa and the Americas before Columbus? The answer isn't a simple yes or no. But the clues, the ships, the stories, the statues, and the soil all point toward a possibility too powerful to ignore. History has many layers. And sometimes, the most important truths are hidden just beneath the surface. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment for more content like this.